Welcome to the CT Sports Talent Show. My name is Christopher Saunders, and I'll be previewing not football, changing it up a little bit, doing Connecticut girls soccer. Alex Joslyn's with me, the head coach for the Berlin girls soccer team. Coach, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Appreciate it. I appreciate all the things you do for high school sports. Big fan of the podcast and looking forward to talking some girls soccer with you.
I had the roundtable with some of the boys about a week, 2 weeks ago, and you mentioned one of the coaches at Law, and he obviously being able to meet him for the first time, Coach Gruber, fantastic guy. Also had Dombrowski and DeStefano as well, and that was a very good conversation. I'm glad I was able to grab another coach to come on here because, you know, before we get into your team, I just want to ask you, as far as what's been going on in the off season, being able to kind of get everything ramped up, do you feel like having that extra time on top of also starting a little bit early as well because of the fall sports towards the end of the summer kind of helps the development, especially with you having, in a way, a brand spanking new team?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, like I know they touched on it. It's big, I think, for the freshmen because there is that jump, from eighth grade to becoming a freshman.
Mhm.
At the same time, too, though, you want to make sure you don't burn the kids out. I encourage them, do vacations, go with friends. If other coaches are doing summer practice, it's okay to go with them because we're going to spend a lot of time with each other. But it's good to have them. I mean, we maybe don't do 2 days a week every week. We might do just one day here and there just to keep
Mhm.
fresh, but it's good just for the team camaraderie. Because, like you said too, we do have a lot of new faces, and we're trying to figure out, for what we have and what we can, find the right combination to be successful.
Now, what's the talk been like for the time that you've been with the team so far? Because obviously, you guys have been able to kind of build the positivity, you've been able to kind of build the culture, right, with the program. What's it been like now looking at 2025?
Good. So, we joke with the upperclassmen 2 years ago, we went undefeated for 15 games, and then last year it took us 7 games to win a game. So we experienced both. Hopefully it's something in the middle this year. I would
Hmm.
always joke with the girls, and they agree. As fun as it was 2 years ago to go undefeated for 15 games, it was also very stressful. Gino Auriemma said it pretty good. The only thing worse than losing is winning every game, just because of the amount of stress and getting everybody's best shot. But no, the girls are ready to go. We're the way our scheduling works in the CCC is we're tier one again. We like that, and we have the mindset if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, and we look forward to the challenge. There might be some bumps in the road, but that's what we'll grow from.
Now, obviously, the CCC is one of the better conferences when it comes to not just soccer, but just sports in general. It's a very deep conference. You mentioned the tiers and such. There are so many programs, schools within the CCC. You're going to be battle tested. But what's your out of conference looking like? Because I think I've always believed soccer is a little different than football because there's only so many games with football, right? Soccer, you can really kind of see what kind of team you got with what you're doing on the outside of your conference. Who do you have?
So on the out of conference side, we're allowed to pick up 2 games with our scheduling because the CCC realigned. We're now three conferences of 10 as opposed to four conferences. We have East Lyme. We played them last year, so we're doing a home and home. We're at them this year. And then we also have Manchester this year, which is, yes, a CCC school. At times it is tough to find another opponent just because of, if that conference is a conference tournament and, you have holidays, religious holidays fitting that game in.
Hmm.
We originally had West Hill on the schedule, but there was a scheduling conflict, but we picked up Manchester. But it's a good test for us, double L school and then East Lyme's an L school that, we may see in the postseason.
And you said that you're going to be at East Lyme, right?
Correct.
So that's about what, an hour and a half drive?
About, yeah. So we always like to schedule a game, whether it be a scrimmage or a regular season game that's, a far trip, just so we get used to that in case for the postseason.
Correct.
It happened last year. We were on the road at Jonathan Law, which is Milford, which is, about an hour for us, and then at Guilford, which is, about 45 minutes. So just getting used to that, being on the bus for a long time, how are you going to react? So we
Well,
look
it's
forward to
funny
it.
that you say that because I had the boys basketball coach for Wheeler on. I want to say it was last year, maybe 2 years ago. My mind's escaping me, but he had a very, very good team. And the one thing he wanted to do with his out of conference games was because he felt like his team was going to make a deep run, and they did. But early on, he wanted to put out of conference games that were far. He wanted to go to north side of the Connecticut, then the south, then the east. Like he didn't care. He wanted to go far because he wanted his team to
Yep.
get used to being on a bus and traveling. Because when it comes to the playoffs in the States, you could be traveling. If you're on one side of the state, you could be going up to I'll just say Housatonic, for example. You
Yep.
could be going to Hoosie. You could be going to the shore. You could be going to Old Saybrook. And if you live far away, you got to get used to it. And the only way is by going through it during the regular season.
No, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, and you do a great job of calling the games, everyone's goal is to be playing at Dillon in November.
Yeah.
And in order to get there, the semifinals are at a neutral site, and usually that's a 30 to 45-minute bus ride at the minimum. So you got to get used to those long bus rides. And especially with our conference being one of the larger ones in the state,
hmm
we do travel a lot. We go east of the Connecticut River a handful of times. We go up to Stores to play E.O. Smith, which is, an hour and a half for us. So you have to get used to those long bus rides.
You have to, 100% on that. Coach, and I know you'll be having a bunch of scrimmages going on and a
Yep.
lot of teams. If you can, for people who may not know, what's that going to entail? What's that? Because that's only going to be in what, a couple days, right?
Yeah, so on August 23rd, we have our sixth annual Jamboree. We do it, we've been doing it every year since I've been the head coach, with the exception of COVID. This year we have 15 teams. We have teams from the CCC, the ECC, the FCAC, and the SEC. Basically, it's going to be a long day at Sage Park. Games start at 8 o'clock, and the last one will kick off around 4 o'clock. Each team will play two games, 40 minutes in total, for a total of 80 minutes, which is allowable per CIAC rules. And the goal is to, have teams that wouldn't normally play each other. Like, for example, we have Danbury playing against Newington. We have Cheshire playing against East Lyme. So it's just good to have a real variety. And, luckily we've been fortunate with the weather that it's going to cooperate with us. But this is the first time we've ever had 15 teams. Usually it's around 9 or 12.
Yeah.
But for some reason this year, the interest was very high. And we thank all the teams for that.
I remember when I played at Sacred Heart and the Jamboree used to be, and I don't know if they still do it for soccer, but it used to be, or maybe it still is. It was at Municipal Stadium. I remember all the Waterbury schools were there, and I remember Caner Tech was there. It wasn't an NVL Jamboree. It was kind of more like within the city and such. And I remember as a kid just being, so excited, obviously, to be able to play soccer and being able to have that opportunity. But also, I don't know, the Jamboree kind of felt like a preview, not so much because my first year we were awful, right? Even my second year we were hoping to be good. We were at towards the end, but we were still building it. But it kind of gave a glimpse into the playoffs, into the NVL tournament, stuff like that, because the energy was good. Just like preseason, right? I was watching preseason football. I was watching the Commanders against the Bengals. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of, a lot of hope, right? Except the Bengals defense sucks. But the point is, though, you see that as a young kid and you're like, hey, we got an opportunity. Like you could kind of feel it and it kind of gets your juices flowing.
No, no, definitely for sure. It's an event and everyone looks forward to it. I mean, a lot of teams are traveling far away. Like, for example, we have Stanford coming. I mean, we're talking probably almost a 2 hour drive for them, and they're willing to come up to us. East Lyme is coming up. And it's a good event. The teams don't just play their games and leave. They'll stick around and maybe use it as a scouting opportunity to play someone they may see later on. Or, maybe they want to see, hey, we might play that team in the state tournament. Or even more so importantly, especially with club soccer, a lot of these girls might get to see teammates from the off season that, they wouldn't see for regular season. And they're, you know, talking to each other, how your season going, all that. But it's just a good overall day to promote girls soccer in Connecticut.
It's also to kind of piggyback off of what you said. It allows the communication, the talk, and the camaraderie to kind of grow because for the amount of years I've been able to call games and talk to coaches, I can't tell you how many times when I've asked, oh, how did you get this scrimmage or how did you get this out of conference game? Oh, we were talking after a jamboree or we were talking while we were scouting for Mohegan or whatever it was. It was just the conversation. Like who knows? You could see coaches who were talking during this jamboree, and within a year or two, they're playing against each other during either a scrimmage or an actual game within the season.
Right. No, definitely. We definitely had that situation happen to us before. I mean, this is our 6th year doing it. In the previous five, we've had at least one team from their conference go on and win a state championship that year. Example last year, I mean, they're not doing it this year because of scheduling conflicts, but Mercy was in our jamboree last year, and we all know they went on to win a state championship. So, and it's good for the coaches too. Like they may not know somebody, they may end up playing each other. Like I know Cheshire and Farmington, they're playing each other this year, not a conference game. They were able to connect via the jamboree when they scrimmaged each other. They're like, hey, this is a competitive game. Maybe next year we do it for real. And that's what they ended up doing.
It's a beautiful thing, and it's great to be able to have that. And hopefully, I'm now you may be able to fill me in on this. Do a lot of the conferences within the state do the jamborees, or is it like a dying breed?
So I know just by us, I know Weathersfield does a jamboree. I know Granby Memorial will do one. Newtown will do one. Not to the size of ours. Like I said, 15 teams, that's a lot. I think theirs are maybe like, 4 to 9 teams. Ours is also the earliest too. I mean, we're doing it 23rd. That's 1 week really into your preparation. So it might be the first game for a lot of teams. I know when I first started coaching, we used to go down to Darien for a jamboree. I think they still do theirs, but I mean, I keep plugging. I think a big one for us is our facility. We don't play at our high school. We play at Sage Park on our turf field and our grass field, which are second to none in the state. And I think that's why just a lot of teams like to come and play.
Now, was there wasn't the baseball semis played there, if I remember right?
Yeah, so every year the Class S state baseball semifinals are played at Sage Park.
That's what it was, because
Yep.
I remember my boy Kirk telling me about
Yep.
that.
Yeah, we have a fantastic. I mean, we're very fortunate in Berlin. All of our fields are world class. Our baseball field, with the amount of money they put into that, that's wonderful.
Mhm.
We've hosted semifinal lacrosse games in the past. The one thing that can just be an issue is just parking. But outside of that, I mean, the fields are phenomenal.
Well, and maybe like 40, 50 years they'll be flying cars, and then everyone
Yeah,
doesn't have to worry about parking.
maybe. Yeah.
You never know. Coach, really appreciate you coming on. This was a lot of fun. Before I let you go, what kind of, without giving out too much information about your team, if you were to preview it, like let's say I was game time and I was asking you, give me a preview on your team really quick, what would you say? Or what will you say? Because I'm sure they'll ask you.
That's a really good question. And I found the more I do predictions, the more wrong I am. Last year, a perfect example, I thought would maybe be a rough year. We ended up making the Class L quarters. So I don't think I'm really the best at making predictions. What I can say is every game we will go out and compete,
Hmm.
especially with our schedule. Will there be some bumps? Yes, just because of who we're playing.
Hmm.
I know we touched on it earlier. We graduated a lot, so there will be some newer faces. But
Hmm.
I think as long as we're playing our best come the mid-October, end of October, we'll be all right like we were last year.
Now, if you could give any predictions, if I have the first overall pick in my NFL draft, who should I take?
Yeah, I go Saquon, man. Even though I mean, though I'm a Giant fan, I think you got to go Saquon.
I don't know if he does it again, though. Who you
I don't
throw?
know. It's hard to bet on him. Hard to bet against him.
If he stays healthy again, then kudos to him, but I don't think he
Yeah, I
stays
know.
healthy. I just don't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That was a dream season for
It
them.
was. I'm glad for the Eagles. It was not for the Giant fans.
Yeah, well, not for Dallas either.
Well, yeah, okay.
I just want them to just get into the playoffs, and I'll consider that a Super Bowl for
Just
me.
want my team to win more than 4 games, and I'll consider that a success. So
They should have a better year this year. Not because of Dart. It's
can't
preseason.
be any worse.
You could
Yeah,
win no games,
that is true.
and then everyone gets fired,
Right.
and then you start over again. Coach, really appreciate you coming on. This was a lot of fun. Best of luck with what you have, coming this season. And who knows, maybe I'll see you for the semis if you guys are able to get that far for the state tournament, and or maybe I'll see you in Hartford. Who knows?
Appreciate it very much, Chris. Thanks you again, and you do a fantastic job covering high school sports. Appreciate it.
As always, I'll wrap things up here in the CT Sports Talent Show. Next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. Enjoy, find them all. Enjoy the day, everybody, and be well.